My name is Kerry Kernan. I have the absolute delight of being the National Operations Manager for the Children and Young People's National Services at Guide Dogs. Now, it's been wonderful just being out in the foyer during today and seeing so many of our amazing hero dogs that are here today. And many people are very familiar with the dogs that obviously we work with. But sometimes people are less familiar with some of the other services at Guide Dogs. And I'm here today just to talk through just a few of those, really, to see if we can just raise a little bit of awareness of some of those other services. Oops. Sorry.
Press the down button.
Oh, down. Thank you.
Oh, try this one there.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Always a technical hitch. So I think the first thing just to mention is that obviously we do have pathways both for adults and for children and young people. And just as a very quick overview of the services that we do have available for adults, we have our information and advice always available through our guideline, which is our main helpline into all of our services. We have life skills that are offered through our rehabilitation teams. We have our My Sighted Guide service, and obviously, it goes without saying, we have our amazing dogs as well. Working through the children and family pathway, again, we have a whole range of different services that will offer information and advice, and I'm just going to talk about those in a few moments. We have our life skills programs that are offered by our habilitation teams. We have our My Time to Play program, which is a specialist program offered through our habilitation teams that focuses on 0 to 4-year-olds. We have customized books. We have our Tech for All program. We have family events. And again, we then have our wonderful canine services, both in the guise of guide dogs, but also buddy dogs as well. So what I'd like to do is just talk through some of my services in a little bit more detail for you today. And I want to start with our education service. So our education service is predominantly an information and advice service. It is made up of specialist qualified teachers of visual impairment. So it's a highly specialist team. They're all absolutely wonderful. They offer a telephone advice service, so any questions, any concerns with regard to any education provision, this team are there to be able to provide just that little bit of information and advice. And some of the areas that would relate to would be things like transition, school placement, different types of support that might be needed in school, because obviously that can vary greatly, as we all know. We've already heard today about the need for education healthcare plans, but often that, coming from education myself, I know that can be a very challenging journey at times, and it's often a journey that can be just filled with so much terminology and so much jargon. It can be a very, very confusing pathway for families. So the education team are absolutely fantastic at being able to support families through that process. But they'll also work alongside other professionals as well, so other QTVIs that may be working with families, other schools, they will work in partnership with them. Similarly, we have a family support service as well, and they sit alongside the education team, again, predominantly an information and advice service. But again, what they can do is they can work with all of our families to provide advice on things like benefits or entitlements. They can help with any queries with regard to housing or social care. But one of the really, really key things that family support do is they offer emotional support. And there really is nothing more important than sometimes when you're going through this particular journey than just knowing that you have somebody at the end of a telephone, somebody that knows you, somebody that you know, and is able to support you through not only all of your questions, but also just through the journey itself. So the family support team are a fantastic group of people who are just wonderful at offering that level of emotional support. Now, I mentioned a couple of slides back the Tech for All initiative, and I don't know if anybody's been aware of our Tech for All programme, but we offer a particular programme for young people, children and young people, where we are issuing free iPads. And working alongside that, we also have a digital journey. So the idea is that as wonderful as it is to get a nice, shiny, free iPad, actually it's how we use that that's the really crucial thing. And so we have this wonderful digital journey that really allows people to get very familiar with the different types of apps that are out there and to see the benefit of how they can really assist. So that's a really crucial part of our technology team. But again, they will also be there to offer that information, advice and guidance. So if you're not sure on some accessibility features, if you just need somebody to guide you through that, then this team are really specialist in being able to do that. Sitting alongside the Tech for All programme, we also run a grants programme as well, because again, as wonderful as an iPad is, it's a fantastic piece of equipment. It's not the answer to absolutely everything, and we know that one size doesn't fit all. And so we do offer a grants programme which does look at assistive technology and also sensory equipment, and we will work with the family to try to identify what the most appropriate piece of equipment or kit might be, and then we will fund up to 90% of that. It's a really fantastic service, and again, just completely accessible through our technology team. Customised books is a real favourite of mine. If you're not familiar with customised books, we do have some actually out on display in the foyer, so by all means please do come and have a little look at those. But Customised Books is our own in-house publishing service. And the whole idea of customised books is, like it says, is we customise every book to anybody's particular needs. And so that means we can vary the size of the font, we can vary the type of font, we can vary the background paper colour, and we can also vary the spacing. And so we have, I think, about 4,500 book titles on our catalogue now. And then we can actually, once that book has been ordered, we can create that book. It has exactly the same front cover. So, you know, if you want to order a Harry Potter, then it will come looking exactly like a Harry Potter book. But just to give you an example of how fantastic that service can be, we recently did one of the quite large Harry Potter books. And the size of font that was needed meant that we actually produced that one book in 14 volumes. But it was quite a big box. But that young person was then able to read that book absolutely at the same time as their friends. And the really amazing thing for the family was they just paid the recommended retail price because it's a heavily subsidised service by Guide Dogs. So it's an amazing service, and as I say, we do have some out on display, so please do come and have a little look at that. It's also worth just mentioning that we also work with schools and libraries as well as families for Customise, and so many schools again will place an order for things like textbooks, GCSE books, you know, really anything that we can do just to support their revision textbooks as well are a really popular one. So that's Customise. And then everybody's favourite, the family events. So we run family fun days across the UK. We currently run 10 different family fun days all across the UK. These really are an opportunity for families just to come and have a fantastic day. It's not a day that families have to organise, we do all of that. So it's really a little bit of respite. But the other fantastic thing is we ensure that during that day, not only are there very fantastic experiences that are all sensory based for the children, but there's also opportunities for families to interact. There's opportunities for children to meet each other, for siblings to meet each other, and also for families to get to know each other. And we hear so many times that as a result of these days, that families then set up relationships, they set up that peer support, which is just so powerful. We also run guide dog experience days. We know that for many of our young people in the young people services, they're not ready to consider a guide dog, but it might be something that they want to think about later. So this really is an introduction. It's a familiarisation experience. It's very hands-on. You get an opportunity to go along to meet the dogs, to groom the dogs, and really for families to ask any questions. So we do a series of those across the UK as well. And then the last thing to mention for family events is that we also run a family weekend. So this takes place either down in Teignmouth or in Windermere. We do alternate years. This year we're down in Teignmouth in October. And the idea of the family weekend is it's an opportunity to come along to experience different workshops, to come along to talk to some of our education specialists, to talk to family support, to have a play with some of the technology, to meet a buddy dog. So lots and lots of really sort of practical and hopefully very useful experiences for families. Activities are put on for the children. But again, there's also those social opportunities in the evenings where we have the meal times, we have a little bit of fun and games in the evenings as well. Again, all of these activities are very heavily subsidised. They're all on the website. So if any of these things are interesting to you, please do have a look. I really just want to pull all of that together with just a consideration really of what our approach is at Guide Dogs, and just also a thought about some of the outcomes that we've seen recently. So regardless of what service you may be interested in, it all starts with a conversation. Every single one of the children and young people services is a very person-centred approach. So our experts will absolutely work with you to develop the package of support that is right for you at that time. In 2019, we created 685 new guide dog partnerships, and we now currently support 4,800 partnerships in total. Obviously, like many other organisations, we had a real impact during COVID. So now that we're back up and running again, we're desperately trying to get all of those partnerships back up and where they need to be. We matched 1,296 people in that year with their sighted guide. We helped 2,845 children learn the essential life skills to navigate the world around them confidently and safely through a variety of our habilitation packages. We tailor-made 4,000 books, enabling children with sight loss to enjoy reading just like their friends. We welcomed 1,095 people to our family events. And then in 2020, we partnered 52 children with their buddy dog to improve their confidence and well-being. And then the last one here, 2021, we provided more than 250,000 people with information and advice about their sight loss across all of our different services. So as I say, we do have a table out in the foyer. There is further information on all of those services out there. There's also some of those examples of the customised books. So please do come and say hello. If you're interested in any of those services, we'll make sure that we pass on any further information for you. Thank you very much.